and then you want to be, let's stop digging this tunnel, then you're going to end up in the, what the tunnel is there. So either let it happen and you have a safe tunnel to go to, or you're going to be a part of the tunnel.
Subscribe to the podcast, KFC Radio on YouTube.
Bang. We're going to get it. We're going to get through it.
Yes.
We're doing the longest. We're doing positive affaffirmations.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
We do? We can't.
Feed the good wolf. Feed the good wolf.
They're going to see you? Yeah.
See this beautiful face. How far do you live from here?
Like 25 minutes south.
What
Y'all could have done this in my house.
Yeah, we could have done that, yeah. Would have been easier for you and better for us, probably.
What would it be if you ever, if you know, there, we have a studio, if you bring the cameras in, but I don't have, my podcast is in my house.
No, Nathan's in your house?
Yeah, need you come film up there.
That's sick.
That's the way to do it. And your buddies who are your co-hosts just come over?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the way to do it. Are we rolling, by the way? Yeah. That's the dream, man.
That's the dream.
Just sit there and podcast, and you have to go no more than, was it in your basement, up top or bottom,
Upstairs,
whatever?
in and off, yeah.
You want to start just doing it from my house? We'll go get a house soon.
No, I don't want to do it from your house. Our studio is close to my house.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You're doing it from my house. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the last few times we talked, like early on, you weren't in the podcast game. And then most recently, I think you were starting to dabble with it, but now you're like full blown.
Yeah. I mean,
world.
like you get it. Never is against it, but it was like you get it and you see that it's this kind of the new way it's going and people are watching stuff and it's perfect for a comedian. And it's, the main reason I started was like COVID was you're not on the road, but you still want to be funny. So it's a muscle. And I mean, I've seen a lot of comics like now that come out of COVID and like you're like, oh, you can tell like
You haven't been doing shit.
Yeah, you haven't been nothing. And so it was like, even if you're like once a week, I can go talk for an hour and a half, 2 hours and just stay funny. Then it ends up being like good. Y'all give me this place. Y'all change this address. It was like trying to meet like a mafia member.
Was it real?
Yeah, no, I'm joking. But it was like there was like three different.
No, you weren't.
It was like three different addresses. It was just very funny to be like, hey, you're like, all right, it's moved. It was very last minute. It's like still to be determined. And it kept like I was trying to do an interview with like Saddam, and you're like, it was like
We
just
didn't know,
being.
I don't know any of this going
Well,
on.
you know, because I think you confirmed that you'd come on very graciously before we even had a house here.
So you probably saw every update.
I mean, it's just very funny just to be. You're like, what are y'all doing there? Like, who's got
And then
like?
you pull up and we're just in like the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
like,
there's like a
in
Y'all got
parking
like
lot.
Zelensky's here, and I'm like, oh. You're like, all right, well that makes sense. You're like, I didn't know y'all were doing all that. You know, you're like, we got to talk to him. We're like, hey man.
God damn.
When I pulled up in the taxi from the airport, I was like, this can't be right.
Yeah.
Because it was like the middle of the night. I'm next to this like abandoned fucking parking lot. I was like, I don't think we're staying here. No, we are.
Yeah,
We're staying
this
here.
it looks nice.
Yeah,
It looks nice,
This place is
but
nice on the outside.
It is. It's gonna fall apart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
It
like,
got put up quick.
Yeah.
Which I'd imagine. I mean, you've probably watched this whole fucking city. blow
Oh,
up,
the
right?
whole. And I've been talking about it
everything's
this
on
week.
construction.
Yeah, so we have our big skyscraper is a Batman building. It's AT&T building.
Yeah.
So when that got built, it was a big deal. And it was like, oh wow, we look like a real city. And then now it's not even. You wouldn't even. I mean, you notice it, but it's like you're like, oh yeah, it's over there, and you're like, it's so
Dude,
crazy.
New York is weird like that now too. I guess it's just because it steadily happened, and I was there my whole life. I didn't notice it, but you know, it used to be Empire State Building, a little bit of the Chrysler Building, and the towers.
Yeah.
And then the Freedom Tower replaced that, but that was it. And now it's like 100-story apartment building over here, 95 apartments over there. You know, like the whole city looks different.
I remember seeing the World Trade Center in. It probably was like '99 or something like that, or 2000. '99 probably, and we went. And I remember how big they looked, and it was because there was two of them. And I guess because even when you see the new one, you're like, it doesn't feel.
No.
It doesn't feel like the one.
I was like, you're close to two. It's like, you know, it takes
Yeah, I
up
mean,
the whole...
I told people, I was like, God, when you saw it, it was like, I was so glad I got to see it because it was like overwhelming when you saw it. And maybe the city wasn't what it's now. And you see the new one, you're like, I don't know.
I know, and it's big as fuck. It's
not
huge.
huge.
Yeah, it's not like it's a
Two of them is crazy.
Yeah, that's
like it was like
they kind of should have ran it back with two.
yeah,
you know,
through three.
Yeah,
You know, go one more.
keep going.
Keep us
Yeah,
down.
we're doing this whole city like this city will sink to the ground, but we'll sink it. You're not going to sink it. We're sinking on our own. You know?
I never got to see him because I was supposed to go When I was, I grew up in Massachusetts, and then for like an 8th grade like class trip, we were supposed to go in like November or something like that. Go down to New York, go down to DC. September 11th, changed those plans. And
Oh, was that year?
It was that year.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's.
and so we
happen.
changed our plans. And we went to fucking Lancaster County, Pennsylvania instead. We went to
Like turning butter
We were
and
like,
shit?
we were
Yeah.
a couple like 13-year-olds ready to rip up New York City and DC, and we went out to Amish country.
That's
I've been to
Those
Lancaster.
terrorists suck.
I thought they were going to say maybe Philly, which is like, all right,
No,
but at
yeah.
least
no, we
it's a
went
city.
to Lancaster.
I've been in
County, brother.
Lancaster. So this is where y'all are kind of at. This area's even changing a lot. But before I started comedy, I delivered I delivered mattresses to houses, or a lot of delivery company, and I talk about something in my act. Now, I worked with a guy, Jamie Mueller. I still talk. I don't mind it. It doesn't matter. Jamie's been shot in the face before, and so.
How does that work? Like in the cheek or
Oh
something?
yeah, like he was a bad drug dealer.
Didn't hit
So
anybody.
first day my boss is like, by the way, before you ride with Jamie, he's been shot in the face. He's like, don't bring it up. And I mean, I'm like,
I wasn't planning on it.
Immediately, I'm just like, what happened to your face? Like, I mean, I'm 19. I'm like, what happened to your face? And he was like a drug dealer that went bad, and like, so he's doing great. And then he's driving a truck, and we're kind of over back in this area. And this is, has to be, again, like 98, 99, something like that. And we get caught. We delivered a house to this old lady's house. I was doing refrigerators at that time. I mixed it up.
Fridges, bro?
Fridges, beds. We would just
Were you
move around.
like one of those guys who put
Yeah,
the belt on and you had the straps so you could like
This is a little old school, no belt.
just hands?
We were worried about the lower back. We lived with our back.
We lived, that's what it was. It was like knees were just, there's rumors about you should use your knees, but it wasn't, we weren't doing it. We
Big
were
knee hadn't
still,
took over
still
yet.
heavy back, And then so we delivered this old refrigerator. I remember this old lady, and we move her refrigerator out and pull it out, and there's a dead cat behind the refrigerator. And we're like, oh, hey, like there's a dead cat back. She goes, oh, that's where it is. Like she's in her 80s. Like
Was
she's
it
just
rotten or like
it's
freshly
like
dead?
just like no, it's been there for a minute,
okay.
and then we just put the refrigerator back over it. Like you're like we don't do everything,
listen, I'm
and
a
we're like,
refrigerator
all
mover, I
right,
ain't not not a dead cat remover,
yeah,
bro.
she didn't
That's
want to
on
get
you.
it. You're like, well, I don't, we just moved it back in, and then we made the corner, and then we got caught in a drive-by.
Shit.
Yeah, we just hear like this popping behind us, and we're in a big 24-foot box truck, and we see this kid run, and it sounded like fireworks.
Yeah.
Like he set off firecrackers, he take off running,
Yeah.
and then we see it, and they just lit up this house, and then they shoot at our truck to get us, because we're on like a 1-lane road basically, to get us to move
Block the
over.
whole thing, yeah.
And then they went through the whole truck, went about 6 feet above my head.
Whoa.
Came
Like
through
you could have
two-
just honked, guys.
I mean, I drive in the grass. You're clearly not following the laws anymore, so maybe just drive around it.
Not to mention, you hit me. Well, now you're really not. Now we're really not getting out of the way. I've been shot.
I've been shot. Yeah. And then, but I was with him, and he was like, "Were you sure?" It's the only time I've ever been that you have to feel to see if you're shot. But I was with the guy that's been shot before, so he knew all the things to do. Like he's like, let's check everything because you might not know it first. And then I'm like, oh, all right.
I remember
Everything
reading
was fine.
stories about that where like I think it was like a soldier or something like that. It was like I was out in the field for 12 hours or some shit like that. I don't know the whole story, but he's like I was basically I'd been shot for 9 hours and I didn't realize it until I got home and took my boots off and like I just dumped blood out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd been hit in the leg.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Jeez.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Like,
That's why I was tired. I thought it
was a
was
cramp,
like,
but it
I
was
had
actually
French
a
toast
bullet.
this morning. I was like, shouldn't have had that. And he's like, turns out it was a bullet. The whole time. Still eat French toast.
What do you think of the like the transformation? I know, like, I feel like some people don't like that it's like a bachelorette and bachelor party town now. They miss the old way or whatever. But I also feel like it's also become like a
It's a cool
massive
city,
place.
yeah.
Yeah.
The old way you could get shot downtown. So. And you can still do it now.
the old way.
Yeah, you still get shot now, but there's pretty girls walking around, and you're like,
They have like little penis straws on their hands, but you're bleeding out still. It's okay.
But it's okay. You see the fun, and you're like, this was worth it. It's a good thing. It's a good thing for Nashville. When I moved back here, I was worried that people thought I would quit. I quit comedy. I didn't tell anybody at first.
Yeah.
And then now it's like people are moving here and stuff, and comics are moving here, and the entertainment business is very big here, and so I think it's great that it's changing. There is a lot of the bridal stuff and all that. That's at Broadway. Like, so if you go down to Broadway, it's like, well, that's a zoo down there. That's going to Times Square. You're like, you want to have it. You're like, it's there. But if you just go a couple blocks over, you're like, it's not there.
You can get all the culture.
And you can see all the other stuff.
Yeah,
so, but that's all the honky tonk bars. I mean, I was down there today, and it's like, it's packed. People are on the Tootsies. They're on the top. And it's like, you're like, yeah, go down there for that. When they had the draft here, it was unreal.
Oh, yeah.
The draft was... it was so cool to see, and like just the amount of people that came out and hung out on that Broadway and all that, and it was awesome. So I like that. I mean, you're getting a lot more traffic now. You know, yes, people that have lived here, I've lived here my whole life, and so some of the older people, they don't like the traffic, and they don't. But you know, you don't come downtown. You used to never come downtown, and now you just don't come. It's safe to go, but it's not.
You don't come.
You don't come because for a different reason.
Yeah,
I actually haven't noticed much traffic. I mean, I guess it's like early.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're in New York. It's going to be. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Like so. Yeah, you get the aspects of that, but like it's they have a highway around the city and stuff. All that. Whatever they do. Whatever a city. Whatever a city does. They do the things.
How did last night go? Last night was the first Nateland production, right?
Yeah. Mike Vecchione's special. So I'll definitely be hitting you up when that comes out.
Absolutely.
But it was great. Mike Vecchione is an unbelievable comedian, and it's a guy that it was in New York City. He's like one of us. He's like a New York comic. He's a comics comic. I mean, just fun. Does jokes. Like it's just straight up about jokes. Like David Tell was like. It's Attell's I always say is the only comic I would pay to go see. Yeah. Because he's super. It's just so fun. You're gonna have fun. It's like you feel like it's not serious. And
he is. Sorry to interrupt. We saw him at the.
That's my wife.
Is she okay?
Yeah, she'll be all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want a bottle? Here's a bottle. I'll give her a bottle.
Yeah.
Really sprung into action there, Nick.
Yeah. I know, man. I see her cough all the time. She'll be all right. Dude. Let her work it out. Let her work it out. She needs to learn. Don't give her anything.
We saw him. I want to hear more about Mike, obviously, but we saw Attell at the 9/11 fund thing.
Yeah, you got a ton of 9/11 stuff today. You're just coming in hot with all 9/11. We're never gonna get out of it. You're like my aunt's wedding was 9/11, 2014, and it was. You're like, God, dude, like you got a lot on your shoulders, dude.
You're right.
You got a lot on. You're carrying a lot.
It was the most recent one with Pete Davidson and Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
Everybody was there, man.
Yeah.
It was like it's like you were the only guy who wasn't there.
He played the flute like the whole time.
Yeah.
I guess
The recorder.
He played the recorder.
Which is funny, man. Like he has a whole thing about it, but the recorder was really like it's such a weird thing that I think like 2 or 3 like whole generations all can relate to. Then if you pull out a recorder, like every single kid played a fucking recorder in first grade for whatever reason. So even just working that into his act, I thought was brilliant. Let alone sitting there playing it.
It's being like what
going on?
Comedy should be, and that sometimes comics I think can I don't want to say all comics, but some can think that I was talking about platform or I don't know I'm anti-platform. So like if you have a platform, how about you just do what you do? Like don't
meaning like
be funny or be entertaining or if your platform is news, then be news. If your platform is not that, then just do. It'll flip like so. It's like instead of like the idea of it is you should be entertaining and then like you can highlight stuff here and there, but it's the highlighting's become more and the entertaining's going the other way. Yeah. And you're like, well, just remember why we're even here.
Yeah.
Because if you don't fix that balance, then I'm gone. Like I can't listen to you. It's like every day when you go buy something, like, do you want to donate money to blah, blah, whatever? And you're like, where's this money even going, dude? Like, where's it even? I don't trust that it's going. I don't know where it's going.
It happens everywhere now, but the most infuriating one is when you go to Whole Foods and they're like, do you want to donate $1 to whatever? Like, have Bezos do it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to just get a $12 fucking apple right now.
I've gone through all my stuff. I never got over 9/11. He goes, I never got over it. And now I'm paying these prices. This apple by like $9.11. You think I didn't see that? Just losing it. You go, all right, dude, all right. Then someone gives you money behind. They're like, do you need money? Like they're
donated $1 to me.
Yeah. They're crazy. And you got to tell this girl that doesn't care, but you got to tell her, no, you feel like all she does is care.
I can't believe, do they have to like ask you that? Because if I was working there, I'd be like, I'm not asking you.
If you're a company, round up. That's your best chance.
Yeah.
I can start saying no. Rounding up, I'll always, but whatever. But if you ask, I'm getting better at going no.
Yeah.
I
Or if
I don't know where this is going. I think this is going to go to. I don't think it's going to go where I want it to go. It doesn't go to this.
And when you're paying with credit card, push here to donate $1. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
That feels like a shithead
When I
move, and
was
I'm
younger,
like,
no.
I was younger, I would, and I've wised up now. I'm like,
no.
hip to the scam.
It's you're kind of guilted into.
I really think, not even joking, I'm trying to be funny. I think most of those charities, like, it really doesn't get to the right people. They're all money laundering.
You're texting money to Ukraine. You're like, is it going to them, dude? I want to see the family that gets it. Can I see them get $5 for me? Can I see it? It just some guy delivers it. This is from comedian neighbor, I guess. They're getting bombed, and they're like, it's just a $5, and they're like, I guess all right. Like it's American, doesn't work there, and they're like, but hello, this is for you. This is for you and your family. It's from me. There you go.
The platform shit is so true, though. I remember not that anybody would really turn to us for commentary on a lot of stuff, but some people were like, "You have a platform; it's your responsibility."
Y'all did it with the Barstool
speak on
funds, right?
Yeah. But like even before George Floyd stuff and COVID stuff, and they were like, you have a responsibility. And I was like, no, I don't.
No.
I have responsibility for like me, my kids, and like my bills.
Yeah.
That's what I use my platform for.
They act like people are only watching this, so they think they think people are so dumb that they're like, I only watch Barstool. I don't even know what's going on outside of it.
Yeah.
And so like you should be the news. Like we should be like, it's sunny today. If y'all would like to go outside, like they're not. They're like they have the news, dude. We're all watching it.
Yes.
The point of this is to be a break from that,
Right.
and to be that reality. And you know what? Some of the people that are even affected need that break as they're in it.
Sure.
And so the point is to give that break. I don't need to watch the news, dude. Like if you want to go find this stuff out.
Even that, it's like I don't wake up every day being like, there are people out there who need a break from their lives, and I'm going to give it to them today.
Yeah.
This is just my job, and I like doing it, and that's why I do it, to make some money and have a good time. I don't really, I don't want to be a dick, but I don't really owe anybody anything.
No.
I don't know you. You know what I mean? So why would you?
You owe the people that are watching this.
Yes.
You owe them to be true to what the reason that they came. It's all about the audience. I think stuff gets lost about the audience, and the audience should be your first thought. Because they're there. And they're the reason you get to do anything that you get to do.
Right.
And so you cannot forget the audience. And that's when you do forget the audience, you start making stuff for you or just other people.
Yeah.
You're like,
the
it's all
never
gone.
the ones being like, you should, you owe me or you should do this. It's like, they're already here.
They're here.
You provide.
Yeah.
So we're all good. This whole thing is good. You're coming in and fucking up a good thing. Stay out of it.
Yeah.
And again, like, why do you even want?
And go make changes if you want. Like what I liked about y'all's Barstool was Barstool Funds. But it was like they called people, dude. Like it's like everybody will support. If I can see, where the money went.
Yes.
It went to the guy that owned the restaurant.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, this is great, dude. And no one's against that stuff at all.
Yep.
It's like these kind of like just like off. You tell people are just saying stuff. Yeah, it's like it doesn't feel real. And you're like, is the money going to this person? Like I don't even know if it is. I want to make sure that they get it, and then I'll help. But otherwise, we're all just saying like. I got a Ukraine flag. You're like, I just wore this jacket again. It's been on this jacket the whole time. You're like, I haven't been wearing it, but I put it back on today, just the jacket, and I now have the Ukraine flag. And so,
with every Barstool thing we've ever done, it's always been like, find me the family of the child who died, the firefighter who died, like whatever, and we'll give it to them.
Yeah.
Because even some, the Red Cross or some shit you've heard of, it's like, I just don't think it actually gets.
You don't know where. I mean, they're running like, and it's not like it doesn't start like it's a bad thing. There's heart there, and I do think these stuff. St. Jude's a good one. Like St. Jude is an amazing hospital, but it's a children's hospital that does stuff, and with the kids, and the kids are there, and you're seeing the
tangible.
It's very like you're like it is a place that's Kansas City has a children's hospital. Nashville. I mean, these places are like it's big. It's a big deal, and that money's going to help those kids, and you see what it actually does. So that stuff is what you need to do. When it's some other stuff, you're like it's kind of up in the air, and you're like, oh.
If I feel like I'm doing it on an iPad. I feel like if I'm doing it on an iPad or an iPhone, if I'm like texting it, this is just going into the air. Yeah. This is just. I feel like lighting this money on fire right now.
I'm gonna. You screenshot that you did it. Send it out. You're basically just like, I'm just letting you know. There's like a fake. They should do like the fake COVID cards. They should have a fake. You could sell a fake text screenshot and just I'll give you it. I did it. You just always be like,
doing it
it's
for
what you do.
You want to post it on your.
You just want to post that you did it.
I remember when the Barstool Fund really blew up and we were like really in the thick of it, and I say we, it was really more Dave. saving everybody, and it was like he was breaking it down simply. Like, you guys give the money to us, and we'll distribute it to the people that need it. And a lot of the comments were like, I think this is what taxes is supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah.
A one central thing that gets money and distributes it out.
Yeah.
I was like, this is probably how it should work more often. But
It gets a lot of
But what
stuff
do I know
is- yeah.
about any of that shit?
That's
so
solid.
what? So back to Vecchione. That is like you are producing it, directing it,
I produced and
directing it.
directed.
Like, what does that
I
mean?
don't know what I'm. No one. I don't. I did it, and I don't know if I know what I mean. But it's it's like just I was helping like just how we're going to set it up, the opening is going to be. Stand-up's pretty straightforward, and then we had 800-Pound Gorilla is who I partner with. They do a lot of specials, and so they know all what they're doing. And so
To
I was
shoot
like,
it, you mean?
Yeah. So I had the help of like, I mean, they did they do everything, and it's like. And then but I wanted to do something so I can be behind it. And then when you put your name on it, it's like, then I'm going to be able to promote it. And like, I can go super hard. Because so Vecchione's a comic that he's not clean, but what I do is clean. And then, but he's always been so close that it's like, well, dude, if you just don't curse, like, I'll get way behind it. I'll be able to do it.
Worth it. We should probably stop fucking cursing.
Yeah. Well, do whatever you want to go do. I'm not against anything, but it's like that's the world that I do.
That's a
And
trade-off
it's-
that Mike is probably willing to
Yeah.
take, where it's like now I can.
It's like, well, now I can go to this audience that like I don't care why people you watch whatever you want. I watch you guys. You're like, no one's against
to
that.
throw your name
But
out.
this audience is just kind of like you can watch it with your kids or you can watch it with your grandmother. They're not going to be weird. But it's not too like a lot of clean stuff that's made for an audience that's clean. It's very like watered down or really put to this. And I want to do this where it's like Vecchione, like, look, if you watch his old stuff, it's not going to be clean. But you're going to get that level of a comedian just to clean it up. And then he comes and does his thing, and he's getting real this is a dude that learned in New York City with Burr and Attell and Patrice, and you're gonna get that high level of a comic. And talking about real adults, like it's not like we're talking about like like trains or something. Like, but it's able to do it without
Trains was the first thing.
I don't know. I was trying to think some kid. That's what the kid comedy. It's like we talk about trains a lot. Like
chugga chugga,
engines,
choo choo.
yeah, a lot of honking. We do a lot of horn stuff. So it's going to be able to do this to be like the people that come in to see my comedy I get 10-year-olds to grandparents come, and like I like that. I like that you're gonna be something for families to watch. No one wants to watch. Like TV kind of divides couples, I think now, and I think a lot of TV is like
the girl shows, the guy shows,
you go watch Housewives, I go watch Narcos, and we don't meet until we're done with our things or whatever it is.
We don't talk until we get.
We don't talk till we get.
Dude, I've said this before. I think like the key to one of the big keys to like a healthy relationship, trust and communication, but like one of the tangible, real ones is TV shows that you both like.
Yeah.
Because you do like, I don't want to have to sit through. You either can separate, which that's not great.
Yeah.
Or I'm like my eyeballs are bleeding while I'm watching some reality show that you love
Yeah.
and I hate. Something in between where we're all laughing, we're all enjoying it. Like it's like, oh wow, we actually enjoyed.
I mean, we grew up with that with TGIF on Friday, and with Urkel and all those shows. Like those were big deals, and you sat there as a family and you watched the show, and that's what the numbers were so big because it was like, I mean, everybody was like, I had to be home on Friday to go do this, and that was a big deal.
It wasn't corny or bad.
It wasn't corny. It was bad. Like it
like,
was
you still
great.
look
Full
back.
House. I mean, you're watching Fuller House. I mean, you're all watching these shows. Like, I mean, they're people going to watch Friends again. You're like, well, you can. Like, I look at it as like being a stand-up version of Friends or Seinfeld. You're like,
yes,
well, these were on
universal.
TV, dude. Like, we're doing that.
That's very
Like,
true.
Seinfeld's
Yeah,
a
it was
very.
like- they were
it's like-
adult topics.
They're adult topics, but you're doing them. You're like, I'm just not saying the words that a lot of people do say, and I'm just trying to I'm not saying them.
Right.
And so that's it. And hopefully, I always like the people didn't know, which we've talked about before on here. Like, people don't know you're clean. You're like, that's the point.
Yeah.
You-
Yes.
Like, it's not like
not a clean comic.
I don't care for you to be. You're either here. Some people are there for it's clean. Some are not. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to be. It's trying to be fun.
That
if
probably makes like the meet and greets and stuff a lot more fun and interesting.
Yeah.
It's not like because like
It's
I
the
think you look like the
same-
same person.
I mean, the
basically, 'cause
same guy
you're
over and
us,
over.
right?
Yeah.
So like the same person where you
want to be
that
that thing. You want to be your audience too. Like I think that also hurts entertainers when they end up hating their audience.
Yeah.
It's over then.
Yeah.
Because if they get so successful that they're almost like they don't like seeing themselves. And you're like, yo, dude, that's you. That's who's coming to see you. So you need to be happy with who that's coming to see you and be proud of like, yeah, I'm you, dude. I would be out there too, like, and all that. I like what you like. Don't hate don't turn on them,
Right.
Because then you're miserable. You're miserable. They're miserable. It's no good.
I always love the idea of like clean comics or like as if there's like somebody counting how many words you say. You know, this guy says it 100 times. This guy says it 75 times. Nate says it 0 times.
Yeah.
It's like it's
become that where stuff's like sectioned off, and you want to like kind of be like, no, dude, it can just be whatever. Like it's like we can all do. I think I can make the movie Scream. And like it can be as gory as Scream. They can show Scream on TBS if they take the cursing out. So you can make that movie. It's not like people that want stuff clean is like they can't handle. Look at all the old. They show Die Hard on TBS. Like they're showing all the 90s stuff. They show them. They're classic films. And you can make it where you're like, yeah, dude, I'm not going to show you the inside of a body. Like that's just, I won't do that. I won't show like the literal guts fall out. Like maybe they don't need all, you know. It doesn't need to be so gory or so this. Or so, it's like make it like a good movie.
That's
and
funny
like,
because that's exactly like when my dad leaves. So my dad always makes like a noise too. Like he'll do like,
yeah.
He just gets up and walks out.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, like I was like, and that's always my argument, which you're kind of swaying me. Is like, dude, you just watch 30 guys get shot, but like the one guy's stomach is what bothers you.
too much.
It's like,
But
too much.
it's
Do it.
You're like, I can go along. I don't need to see. It doesn't need to be real to me. Like you almost don't want it to be too real. Like I don't need to like watch a man feel like he died, and I watched his eyes go. Like you're
Dude,
like.
I was watching Sicario yesterday. I was watching Sicario for like
A big fan of Sicario, but I say all this, giant Sicario fan. Like I mean, yeah,
that movie's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Taylor Sheridan's just the fucking tops.
Yeah.
But it actually wasn't a gory scene. It was a scene where John Bernthal's choking Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is too real.
Yeah,
too real.
Very
It
real.
was like they're just both such
It feels
great
too much.
actors.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, this is
that
really
whole movie makes me feel like, oh, I'm so happy to just like live in a little bubble. That's
That's you can go back and watch, and you can be like, I'll just 10-second forward that part. Like you're like, but then you get to the other part of it. You're like, there's that stuff needs to be made, and that stuff is great. And then there's another side that I think can be made too, and that's what I want to try to do with what we're doing, and we did with Vecchione's special. And it's going to be unbelievable.
You're gonna like co-sign other guys. Like, you think you're gonna?
I think we might do it with someone else, and then we're starting. Like I kind of started with the Nate Land, like talking about getting these podcast stuff. Like hopefully maybe to eventually start a network and like do this. Like our podcast is clean and. We just talk about whatever, but it's, just the world that I can build. And like, no different than what y'all have created.
Sure.
And you just build your own little world and you just go, this is what we're doing. And if people hopefully want to see it, and if they don't, it's fine. Like, you build that world where you're like, you don't have to say if you don't like something, just don't watch it. Like, don't, you don't have to do. You would think that.
We live in a world where that's primarily exclusively what people like to do.
Yeah.
Is tell you that they don't like something or don't want to watch something.
Yeah.
Thanks. We are the kings of getting backhanded compliments that are like always kind of like that. Like, yeah, man, I don't really like that other show you do, but this one's pretty good.
Yeah.
You just didn't need to say
You didn't say that, yeah.
You could have just said.
Well, you have a place for it. Like, I always think of that, like Reddit. I always look at like,
don't
well,
do
that's.
that.
I know, but
don't do that.
But you think like, well, Reddit's the place where you can go do that, and I shouldn't be involved.
Agreed.
And like, you're like, I don't need to watch. Like, I don't want.
He has the best mantra I've ever heard. People, do you read your comments, read your DMs, and he always goes, "That's none of my business."
Yeah.
Comments about me is not my business. That's your.
It's true. It's
that's
your business.
Great mantra.
It's something I very, very, very strongly avoid.
That's for them, and
But we said two things just there. That the first thing made me go up and get my phone because it reminded me of something, and then we came back and we said Reddit. I was wondering what Nate thinks about the tunnel on Reddit.
okay.
The what?
There was.
It's a 9/11 thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is it? Yeah. Oh, that was. There's a tunnel. They all made it out safe. You're like, they live under the buildings. Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
There was this thing that went viral today on from Reddit, and it's a question from Reddit. The title is "How can I get my boyfriend to stop digging this tunnel?" And it's 2 paragraphs. Bear with me, I don't read so well. So I know this is a weird question, but my boyfriend likes to spend a lot of his free time digging a tunnel on some property that he just inherited. I haven't seen the full extent of it, but last I saw, it was remarkably deep under the surface. He spent roughly a year on it, and it's evident. The front of this thing is deep, wide, well put together. At the front, there's which is the only part I've seen. He's got cement beams, electric lights, even chairs and a small table.
Wow.
I haven't gone into it, but it looked like the quality severely dropped as the tunnel went further, mostly becoming open dirt with some wood beams holding it up. My biggest concern is the safety. I'm really worried that he's going to dig too deep and it'll collapse on him or something. I've tried voicing this concern to him, but he just laughs it off and assures me that he'll be fine. Aside from safety concerns, there's also the fact that he doesn't really have a social life because of this thing. I'm pretty much the only person he still talks to outside of his job, and he doesn't go out and do anything anymore. It used to be that he'd occasionally head out and do some digging on the weekends, but now he spends almost all of his free time out there. He still comes home, but he barely spends any time with me, and I know that he isn't doing anything but digging the damn hole in the ground. This can't be good for his mental health, but I don't know how to convince him to stop. He's always really happy when he comes back from digging, which is why I haven't seriously tried to stop him before. But I was talking to a friend about him, and she told me he might be going crazy. Obviously, I don't think he's insane, but I hadn't considered the mental health aspect of this, and I just don't know what to do.
So he's like a dad from the 50s. Like, it's like, that's what you do before TV.
Manual labor.
So it's a guy that's just like, maybe has a flip phone and like wants to, let him dig the hole.
dig his hole.
You want to wake that up? It's a man that knows how to dig a hole. You want to stop that process? This is a guy that's already wrapped his head around what could happen and why he needs a tunnel. And then you want to be, let's stop digging this tunnel. Then you're going to end up in the, the tunnel is there. So either let it happen and you have a safe tunnel to go to, or you're going to be a part of the tunnel. And like, you're just like, they rub out your face when the whole, then he starts a city down there.
They put you the side of the wall.
Yeah. You're like Harrison Ford or Han Solo. And you're just that. And you're like, oh yeah. You're like, that's the founder of the tunnel. And then the new people are like, oh, they're like touching it. And
You're like first lady right now. You're practically one step away from the most powerful person in the tunnel.
This might work out great. Like this.
No, I mean, he's definitely going to die.
I'm not against the guy having a tunnel. The older you get, the more you're like, all right, I'm listening. Like I'm like way on. Like you start thinking about buying land somewhere, and you just think the world's gonna collapse. I'm on the edge of it, where you're going like, well, how did he get? I'd like to see it. You know, like
how many shovels
does it go somewhere? I'd be more at where is it going? Like, is there an end goal?
I actually, the second time around, he said this is some land he inherited.
Yeah.
Maybe there is something on that land or some shit.
But
like old Grandpa Smith Jones told me about in their land. There's gold in them hills.
Do they talk about World War III and nukes and all that stuff? Like I mean, what's the difference of like a guy having a bomb shelter? Like it's like he could be doing
like Snowpiercer.
It would be like just maybe she should give him some guidance to go where are we going to do with this? Like where's the let him tell you the end goal. Yeah. Where are you going? Like are you going to be
an end to the tunnel?
And it's getting you're getting a little bit looser towards the end where you're getting tired out. So like let's make it something, and then it could be
I mean, I've seen Peaky Blinders. I know what happens to the tunnel diggers.
Yeah.
Almost all die from their
usually go
on
well.
them.
And the amateurs are probably going to be even worse. I'm an amateur tunnel digger.
But if he's searching for gold, he's just going about it
The wrong way.
Completely wrong way.
But unless that's what I mean. Maybe it's like
I don't think
but maybe
it's
it's not like
gold.
gold. Maybe it's like a treasure.
I think he's digging a tunnel.
You think
Yeah, I think he's doing what he's doing. Like he's not like.
Well, that's what we were saying.
I mean, if
too.
he found gold, head be like, yeah, man, it was great. I definitely wasn't
Now
going for gold.
Get this gold out of my way so I can dig in the tunnel.
It's all about the tunnel. She needs to ask where the end goal is. She needs to be like, what is the end plan with this? It might be something what I want it to be, which is just to be like if something happens and you got to go underground and you got this tunnel that no one would even see and you're safe under here. Your place is getting aerated because you got so much other stuff that your wife's furious about. Like he's got like an attic that's like just like who knows what's up there, and he's like we're the only family that probably needs this tunnel, and it's us, and. So I would you gotta let it. I'm fine with it. I get it too, being like therapeutic. Like there's a little like he goes and just minds his own business and he digs it. Some of you ever done Legos, the smaller version.
Legos.
But Legos, you start doing them and you're like
success of it.
Yeah, it's like you're like this is nice, and it's a different version of that.
It's also a nice workout. Right,
great workout.
Right?
Yeah,
Probably
got shredded.
A nice.
White as a ghost, but shredded. Like there's no vitamin D. Like I mean,
he looks like one of those guys in Mad Max. Ripped
The first time I ever had that like you said 50s husband.
Yeah.
The first house I bought used to flood in the basement every time. I mean, there was a sprinkle and this shit would flood. And one time was particularly bad. And I remember I had a big squeegee and I was just pushing the water into the sump pump in the ground. And I just popped some headphones in and I was just squeegeeing for like hours. And I was like, this is so much better than what's going on up there right now.
Yeah.
There's chaos up there. This is easy. There's a goal. I know how to do it.
Yeah.
I was just like, And then as I'm doing it, I'm thinking of like my dad shoveling or pushing a lawnmower or whatever. I'm like, oh, I get it.
You just want your little.
Yeah, this is not really even
That's
about
what he
what's
wants.
going on.
Yeah.
Here, it's about what's not going on.
Yeah, it's the goal is he's got to have. There's got to be some like plan.
Yeah.
If he keeps digging, then it is like
He's
well
also what, like
something's.
20 something.
I don't think there was an age on that.
If your kid's digging
He's
holes.
20.
No, there's no age.
Did you say my
The
boyfriend? or my-
boyfriend, yeah. So
That's great. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
That's
She's getting to
tough for
see
her.
what like he's
What's
showing her
Tim up
cards.
to? He's digging a tunnel.
Yeah.
Oh, what's your boyfriend? Oh, he's a doctor. What about yours? Investment
Yeah.
banker. Yours? He digs a
See,
tunnel
no,
for
but
fun.
Way
you went
more
right
interesting-
To calling stuff. You went right to calling stuff with the doctor.
What?
We were saying earlier that there are so few professions that you can say like I had a calling for it.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
the
people
calling.
are like that's okay.
Yeah.
Like it's like basically we said the priesthood and soldiers are basically.
I would say digging a tunnel.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I said, what if he just had a calling for it?
That's a
Dig a
definite
tunnel.
that never ends. There's a voice that's telling him to keep going. And he's
That says like Field of Dreams, man.
yeah.
If you dig it,
just dig it.
the tunnel will
Yeah.
be there.
That's also
I
concerning
get
why she said she's like, obviously I don't think he's going insane. It's like, well, that's not even below the top
Yeah.
3 reasons he could
She has to walk down there with a lantern. Honey,
it. Little parakeet.
hey, it is way.
up the side.
Yeah, you got a little further, didn't you? Like, he just comes there. You can see at night now. Like he could just like, he's like an owl. Like he doesn't need a light. He sees the light. He's like, what? Turn it off. Like he can't. Like he just can see perfectly. He hunts at night. You're like, nah, he drives in a car, no headlights. He just can't. He sees everything. You're like, dude, he's built. He's a new person. It's like a guy that can breathe underwater. I mean, this guy's a hero. Like,
an X-Men.
He's
Yeah.
evolving.
He's evolving.
He's gonna be the first fish. Like
your kids are going to be unreal, dude. Like your kids are going to be. It's going to be nuts. They're not going to be scared of the dark. There will be no dark. It's going to be crazy, dude. Mate with him now. Breed. Like this is your goal. Got a once in a lifetime over here. That's crazy. I like it. I'm on board. You ever look at like going if the like bomb shelters and all, like you? I've recently looked some up and like there's levels to it where you're. I mean, if you're like loaded, you're like, there's people that got like, I mean, it's a mansion underneath the ground.
Yeah.
And they have
You're
living
good.
rooms and you have
Yeah.
bedrooms and you have, I mean, it's pretty wild. Like, you know, there's
It's like
the
nicer to
one.
live in a bomb shelter than it is most people's houses.
Yeah, some are like, you know, it's like a tornado shelter where it like comes down, you got a seat and you have some bed, you basically wait till it all goes over. And there's some that you're like, yeah, you live down there for years.
Right.
And it is that, like, would you want to pay that much money to maybe never, like when you need it, you're like, it's going to be great.
Right.
But if you don't
it's
need
a big
it-
insurance bet.
it's
like,
a-
maybe
I
nothing
mean,
bad's
a
gonna
big
happen.
one.
But when it does, how
You're rooting for World War
Yes, I
III.
was
Like
gonna say, there are
you're,
guys in the neighborhood
Yeah.
who are like, I need these fucking bombs to go up.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm getting made fun of by the neighbors.
Yeah.
And like, I just want to
I'll
be right.
show. Then I want to shut the door in their face.
You ain't welcome.
Yeah.
You're not invited.
it's Red Dawn. The whole family's going downstairs. Like,
Yeah.
we told them.
That's-
We
yeah.
told them all.
You
We
guys
said
told
we
them,
were
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
The ultimate I told you so.
We did it.
The
I
ultimate.
told you money wouldn't matter in the new world, and then they got.
We ran into Soder a couple nights ago, and he told us the funniest story. So John wasn't drinking that night, and Dan has not been drinking anymore.
Yeah.
And they both of them ended up housing O'Doul's. I've never seen my
yeah.
life.
Buckets of
They got
O'Doul's.
buckets of O'Doul's. He drank like 10 O'Doul's.
Yeah.
And because you know, like when you're drinking, you're getting drunk so you can drink hundreds of ounces of something.
Yeah.
When you're not, he was just like, I just got a belly full of
Oh.
non-alcoholic
By,
beer.
by the end of the night, I had to lean like to a certain way because my stomach was
Yeah.
so bloated. Like I was like standing at the bar like this because it was uncomfortable any other way.
But so Dan got so excited, he's like, he goes, I'll do some NAs with you, let's go. So anyway, they're drinking the non-alcoholic
The attic. This is the attic and Dan.
Yeah,
You go,
let's-
what is
yeah,
that?
let's
Is
go.
that almost like kind of beer? I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Like 40 of them. You're like, I think it's like it's supposed to be like just a minute long thing you kind of do and sit it down empty. Not supposed to pound them, dude. Like he's doing like
funneling.
he's doing like a shotgun in it. You're like,
Bro, this was
Yeah, dude.
Shane's exact answer. We told Gillis, and he was like, "This is the most alcoholic story I've ever heard in my
Yeah.
life." Like, yeah, we're slamming O'Doul's.
you think they're still open, dude? You think they can go get some? You're like, yeah, man. I think a child,
bartender was
a
like-
child will sell them to you. It's not. It's what are you talking about? Here you go.
He told us though that he had once devised a plan I don't know if you were involved in it, but he said he was going to come out of retirement.
Oh,
and drink. He said he wants to get the Ocean's 11 team together of drinkers.
Yeah.
But like within like 2 seconds, he had himself drinking like 3 days ahead of time.
He told me the plan.
Yeah.
And so he tells me, and he goes, I won't mind one time going back. And like, I don't drink anymore. And so there's a lot of us that don't drink anymore. And so he's like, all of us would go back. He said, we'd do it at the Creek and the Cave in New York, and when it was still in New York, she's in Austin now. And then he said, we'll go back there. And I was like, yeah, that would be great, right? And he said, yeah. He goes, I would probably I would start Thursday. Because I don't want to just like Saturday, like I want to like warm up to it. So because I would do Thursday, probably have a couple beers, nothing big. Then Friday I'll come in, probably have a few more, maybe a couple shots, just so I get prepared for Saturday. I was like, yeah, dude, this is why you have a problem. Like, this is a made-up scenario, and you've already built in days that is like coming into this. So this is
Sunday morning, a few mimosas to work it off.
Yeah, you go, the next day, a little hair of the dog, like you got to do that. And then I'll start smoking again to get back off the booze. And you go, well, this is a nightmare now. You made it a whole thing. He had last night, because I don't drink, so we have NAs at in our tour bus. And I went back in the bus like at the end of the night. Like I always have, like after my shows, I have now this is your old man. I have a Halo Top and 1 to 2 NAs. And so I go back in there last night. I'm like, they're all gone. And Soda drank, like a 12-pack. I'm like, Soda, what are you doing, dude? Like
They're like specifically designed to be like a placeholder.
Yeah.
So when you're out, you don't feel awkward. You can kind of sip on it. You're not
it's not.
chugging them.
It's nice. You feel you're part of the crew, and you just feel like, it's after a show, and you're like, it's like 12 Bud, like ice NA. Like NAs are always like this weird,
I was doing the math on it.
Dry heat, Bud dry heat. You're like, there's no alcohol in it, but the can's a little different. And you're like, could y'all make it look a little more? It feels a little. Everybody's always like, what's that?
That's a 0. We get the zipper. Like, what's the zipper? Yes, the follow-up question. Mind your business. Not alcoholic.
Let's just say I can drive home tonight. All right, and I'm fine.
No, we did the math. I did the math, and it's like I drank like honestly like something like 250 completely empty calories that day.
But how good did you feel the next day? That's what you got to remember.
Yeah, that's true. I felt good.
You have no headache. That's what it ends up coming to. When the older you will get, you end up seeing like, all right, I put up. Hannibal Buress told me this when we first started drinking. He goes, I put up some good numbers.
Yeah.
Our jersey's in the rafters.
It's like a career. Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
I did. When someone's like, you're not drinking, you're like, I did all that you are doing now and that you think I didn't do. I did it all and maybe more.
Yes.
And so I did it. I don't need to do it anymore. Every day you wake up is awesome. Last night I didn't get a ton of sleep, but I'm not here like just miserable, dude. Like it's just you actually chase dreams. You actually when you're drinking, you can have one dream, and you can only go after that one dream. There can't be another. Someone's like, "What about this?" You're like, "I can't do. That's too much, man. How much? I'm barely making this one." And then otherwise you're like, "Yeah, maybe I will try it. I have time now. I'm not,
I'm gonna go dig a tunnel.
You go dig a tunnel. Can you imagine that guy can't drink?
No.
That guy he's not gonna cheat on you digging a tunnel.
Hungover has got to be the worst fucking thing I've ever heard of in my life.
Can't even imagine. It's cold down there, and you're like,
A huge thing for me, slowing down. I'm not like totally off it, but I basically am. Once I had kids, taking care of kids hungover.
No, they don't care.
They don't understand.
Yeah, they don't understand.
And there is no amount of fun. There is no party. There is no appearance or person or concert or something that is worth the next day when like a 12-month-old is just like, play with me, fix me, feed me, keep me alive.
Yeah. Like, your 1-year-old could knock on the door and say all that stuff. You should have done a higher age than that. You're like, you're 12-month-old? You go, yeah. She pulls up in the car. She backs the car out. I'm like, oh, gosh, she's 2. And so, but yeah, when the kids, it makes it, you just don't want to be miserable. And it's not feeling miserable because it just starts. The older you get, it hurts.
It
gets real,
awful.
dude. It gets awful.
I remember it's just not worth it. It's like a risk. It's like, that's fun, but it's not as much fun as that is bad.
I remember a guy when I lived in New York. When we lived in New York, you live in a town, like a townhome that's 3 apartments or something kind of. And so the basement below us was this construction worker. And I mean, you can hear you're in a house. you're in a house, but you're 3 different families, but you hear everybody.
Right.
And then we would hear him. I'd hear him. He'd come home so drunk at like 2, 3 in the morning, and then I would hear him at 6 a.m. and just like put his finger down. So you hear him like, and now you just hear it. It just comes up like through the wall, and you just hear this guy's misery. And he's just doing it every night, and you're just sitting there like, oh my gosh, like. It's a guy that, he was at that point older than me. I mean, I was still drinking at this point, but it's like, you're like, is that what it become? It just becomes that. Right. And you got to go do it. And that's the life that you have. And you have there's no way, like your life is kind of miserable until you can get it pounded away with enough alcohol to like kind of then move on.
Became accidentally bulimic. He's got like what do they say with bulimic? Like
teeth start rotting.
You get the enamel off the teeth.
Yeah.
You bulimic, bro? Like, no,
It's crazy.
I wish.
It's not enough for people. You know, like you got to have a rock bottom moment usually, and that should be it.
Well, your rock bottom might not be what you think it's going to be, because it's like you can think it's going to be one thing. I locked myself out of my hotel room naked once, so that wasn't rock bottom. I kept going after that. You think that would be it? It's always you just end up. It's how you feel, and you just end up being like, I can't do this. Eating is like I'm learning with eating now. Like it's like I still want to eat this stuff, and then you're like,
you're a great reformed eater, because I know me and you used to eat the same.
I can still do it. I just know how to do it. Like you do it.
I still.
Yeah. I mean, but I like, I went the other day. I went to McDonald's. I had #1 little side fillet of fish. I was doing a side cheeseburger.
Man.
I was doing side cheeseburger, some a side McChicken for a while. McChicken was its own meal at one point in the heyday, and now it's just pushed off to the 99-cent menu.
Yeah.
There's a little more respect than I think. The McChicken was a solid sandwich. It is a solid sandwich.
I love that where it is, right? That's almost like a last
now
call.
it's just I'll take a couple of chickens, throw them in. Yeah, I'm not against that. Yeah. And then but I started going a little fillet, I started going a little fillet of fish now. Little side fillet of fish, just. They do the menu.
Filet of fish. I've only had it once, and it was like someone who was a huge filet of fish person was like, you have to have it. I'm like, there's like no way, it's disgusting. Like you have to have it. No way, it's disgusting. You have to. All right, I'm very easily persuaded. It's like literally within 10 seconds.
Say it 3 times. Yeah.
I was like, all right, fine, give it to me. I got it. I pretended it was bad.
Good.
Pretty good sandwich.
Yeah. If it's not fresh, it can be bad.
But
it's but you still get through it. You'll be fine.
Fish is not good.
You'll be all right. You fight through it. Yes, a little more tartar. Can I get a little more tartar on this?
Do they tell you what kind of fish? Or they're like, don't worry about it.
I don't never asked anybody what kind of fish anything is ever in my life. I've never been to a nice restaurant and asked what kind of fish. I don't what am I talking to these people about? I know what it is. Know what you're doing. I mean, I'm in my car. They're handing you food. And you think, excuse me.
You never wondered what
is this Atlantic or Pacific?
Yeah.
I actually do think I read, I think I relatively recently read this. I think it just says like filet of.
It's North Atlantic cod.
Cod.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this fish was killed years ago. This fish has been dead for years. Like, it's not like, it's not one you're like, is his family still alive? Like, no, his family's dead. Like, this is light years. This guy never stood a chance, you know?
I don't have a leg to stand on because I've been on a kick a little bit of, I do the tuna fish from Subway.
Oh, yeah.
I do tuna. I don't
know.
You had a day the other day.
I do it. It's not regularly, but whenever I go to Subway, I get the tuna. And that only started after they announced that a study showed that they don't know what's in the tuna.
They say it's not tuna.
It's not. There's no trace of.
That's
tuna.
when he started eating it.
And I was like, let's figure
I'm
out what it is. Let's try it. And I got it. We were going to DeStefano's house, and I got the tuna melt with extra mayo. And then puked into Stefano's backyard.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
I've never puked for fast food. You gotta be able to handle it. Well, you got to be built for that.
They were showing me.
He has a very soft.
I got a real weak.
He puked at the bar. Oh, this is another soda story. Oh, you were kind of involved in this. It was when Joe List shit in a girl's shoe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He told that story, and he puked at the bar and
I almost got kicked out of Kid Rock's bar sober.
Yeah.
like, dude,
it's a story. Don't worry.
Like you're puking in trash. I'm like, yeah, I've had 6 O'Douls, and I just heard a gross story.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
You can't handle it.
Dan told us that you called him like in hysterics, like you just got to talk to Joe. You got to get this story. We've been talking about the logistics of that, and like, how does that occur?
It was
Does he do it on purpose? Was it an accident? Was it a lucky shot?
no. He didn't
But,
know.
it almost feels like it does need to be on purpose.
He did it, and he was very drunk. He went to the bathroom, and he did it at a lot of places. So it was everywhere. So it's kind of a lottery that it hit a shoe. Like it's.
So it also hit my, my makeup bag and
But
my,
he goes,
my shoes and
dude,
my
it's
dress.
my favorite. Like he had to go. So we go out. Everybody's drinking that night. So I have a joke from that night. I tell my story about. My wife, I was like texting her. I was like, "Oh, I'll call you later." I don't talk to her for like 12 hours. I text her at 6 a.m. I'm like I said, like I am home or something. And so I had to joke about my text with her because she got furious at me that night. She's here, obviously, but she got mad that I was. Yeah, she choked to death. She all right. And but she got mad at like because obviously I disappear for 12 hours. And then we go out and we're drinking. One point we go to this bar down in the East Village, and Joe leaves to go home at one point, and we're like, all right, man, we're seeing you. Joe lists really drunk. And then an hour and a half, he's just back at the bar, just sitting in the seat. And we're like, what are you doing? And he goes, what? And he goes, I was just hanging out, man. You're like, yeah, but you like left. We kind of walked you out. You left. He goes, He goes, and just kept drinking. And you're like, all right, well, Joe's back. And then, so he goes to these girls' house, and they worked at Caroline's, the comedy club, and they were very nice. They just moved to New York, and it's like he just goes there, he's drunk. I mean, just passes out, whatever. And then they get up and they go to work. They have to go to work. Because they're real people. They're human. And yeah. And so Joe wakes up and he's got a flight to Seattle that day. And the trip, he's going to the Seattle Comedy Fest where he will be gone 1 month. So, for a month, you got to like pack for a month. So he wakes up.
I'd probably stay home that night for a month-long excursion.
Oh, yeah.
Me, but yeah.
He wakes up and like he calls me. He's on the way to the airport. So he woke up and immediately he just realized that he took a dump in these girls' shoes. So he tries to clean up the best he can. And then he packs a backpack worth of clothes for 1 month. Doesn't get a shower or anything. I mean, he's got stuff on his legs. Oh my God. So he gets there and then he misses his flight. And so they get him on another flight. So now he's got to fly to Boston, then Seattle. So I loved it because he basically felt like he had to go backwards and then the farthest. It was almost, they were like, we're going to make you have to go a little bit farther. And then
you get it, right?
You get it, yeah.
You got to tone a bit.
So he has to sit down in like the middle and he's just doing this. So he can't talk to these girls. He calls me and said, I don't even know what to say. I'm so sorry. And they're like, don't, it happens. And I think they thought he just like peed on the floor or something. Yeah. And they're like, they just got out of college. They're like, yeah, we get it, dude. It happens. So he lands, and when he lands, he calls and tells me all this story. Dude, it's my fate. Like I weirdly like when something goes really wrong for someone, and when bad things happen. And so I'm like losing my mind that I'm laughing so hard. And so he lands, and he's got a message from those girls, and the message is, it's way worse than we thought. And like he ruined the shoes. It was everywhere. It was like not good. And so like then these women, their life is different now. Like whatever journey they might have been on, they're on another road now. And like it's a road that's like kind of half lit and not like they had a nice road that was like paved, and now they're like kind of like it's like I don't know if you're ever gonna make it back to the road that you were on. It's kind of hard after you see something like this. And
once you've cleaned up human
from a guy that you don't really know that well. You know what I mean? Like,
booty, you come back home and you're like, I've seen some things, man.
Seen some,
I can't unsee this.
You can't, like, And so you have to go work with a homeless after that. Like, you're getting work in an office building. You're like, I gotta get out. It can't be boxed down. And so he calls him, and then he calls me. He wrote him, he had to send him money. And he gave him, he sent him cash. He wrote a card because he was gone for a month, so he wasn't going to see him. And I saw him first. I went to Caroline's. I was like, let me just go and let me fill it out for you. Because they were all there, and I was like, I'll get it calmed down. And so I'll go in and see him. Right when I go down, walking down Caroline's, there's those steps. You go down, and I see him, and I go, our boy Joe, how about him? I'm just trying to be as charming as I can be to make it as fun of a bad situation this could possibly be. And then he goes, and he does it, and then he sent him, wrote a check, wrote him a card, said, I'm so sorry, I don't even know what to say. Signed it Uncle Joe, which is very funny, and sent him $300 cash. And he goes, He asked me, he goes, is that enough? I go, I don't think you could have ever sent them out. That would be too much. If you sent them $2,000, I think, or $10,000, that's okay. Whatever,
$1 million.
$1,000,000.
We just said it ruined their life.
It ruined their life.
No dollar
There's
amount.
not amount. Don't worry about too much. There's only not enough. There's not a too much. There's not enough.
Absolutely unreal, man. All right, I know you got your show, so we won't keep you any longer, but thanks always for the time.
Always, dude. Big fan.
So, your podcast, Nate Land, Rebecca Young.
Yep. Nate Lamb,
What's the title now?
we don't know yet.
Okay.
We got some
Just got
ideas.
time for
So we just shot it last night. And so he murdered. Vecchione's doing me the favor that I get to venture into kind of doing some other stuff. Because Vecchione's the solid that I know is a rock. Like, you're going to have a fun time.
Right.
So he's us, and it's we're definitely be hitting you up when it comes back out.
Anytime.
So let you know and all that. Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
You doing dates or anything?
Yeah, on the road. When's this come out?
Next week.
Oh, yeah. I'm doing a ton of dates on my tour, and so you can go to natebargatze.com. All the tour dates are up there. So I'm around. I'm going literally everywhere. So I'll be every single place.
All right, man.
So,
Thank you, bro.
All right. Yeah. Appreciate it.
If you're watching on YouTube, click here to subscribe so that you get all the new episodes as they come out. And John, what should they click if they want notifications? Make sure you click thumbs up for the like. Hit that bell icon.